How's it going, everybody? Well, you read the title, you read the description, you clicked on this video for a reason. Yes, I truly believe Evolving Skies will be a $20,000 booster box by 10 years. In fact, I actually believe it'll be sooner. I believe it'll be more like the 5 to 8 year window, but I just put 10 years to be safe. I have 7 key points on why. Now, please don't watch this video being closed-minded. You don't have to agree with me, but at least hear out what I have to say. I have some pretty good compelling arguments on why I believe it could hit this price, or at least near that price. So without further ado, let's just begin. I just want to say, wow, you guys are really nice. All the comments, all the support, you guys are really nice. But yeah, far out, I cannot thank you guys enough. I really want to just make great content because you guys really just motivate me because you guys are so nice in the comments. But anyway, now I made a video about a month ago explaining why I spent $16,000 on Evolving Skies booster box case. I got a lot of love for that. I got a lot of support, but I also got a lot of criticism. A lot of people were saying I'm taking it too far. It should be a kid's toy. It shouldn't be taking this serious. And a couple of people said they hope I lose everything, which was a little bit mean, but it's whatever. I don't really care. A lot of people said it's not a smart financial decision to make. I'm already up about 8K on that case. It wasn't hard to predict Evolving Skies is going to do well. We are literally in a craze of Pokemon. Now, before I list this, I just want to tell you, Evolving Skies was practically the first set in Pokemon where it was 3x MSRP, meanwhile still being in print. Yes, it could get a reprint one day and it would still be $500 a booster box, which is about 3 times the MSRP in AUD pricing. Okay, that's really impressive. All right, well, let's look after it was finished. Well, even though the market was chill, even though the market was cool, it was still breaking all-time highs. It was still doing absolutely phenomenal numbers. It was still crushing new records, even though the market was quite chill at that time. Now, skip to the present day. We're in a roaring market. The peak of Pokemon is here, and Evolving Skies is just sending it completely. This is the thing about Evolving Skies that I find very interesting, is that you can see it does really well while the times are quiet or while it's in rotation. So what do you think is going to happen once it's out of rotation? More importantly, what do you think is going to happen with the long-term potential? Well, these 7 points back up why I believe the long-term potential of Evolving Skies is going to be quite prosperous. Now, these are not in any specific order, but they all synergize together to make one grand scheme argument. So make sure to watch till the end. You have to watch all of it. You are now legally binded to. I'm kidding, you're not. But you're not going to be able to understand it unless you watch till the end. So make sure to stick till the end. Alright, so to start off with my first point, Evolving Skies is regarded as the best set of all of Pokemon by most people. It just is. But by the other, let's just say 20% of people that don't regard it as the best set of Pokemon, most people can agree it's at least a top 3 or a top 5. Maybe some people put Skyreach higher, maybe some people put Team Up higher or base set, but everybody can at least agree it's a top 3 or it's a top 5 at the worst. Most people can agree it's the best at the best, but nonetheless, it's still really high on the ranks. Now, this moves into point number 2. Point number 2 is that let's look at all the other boxes. Let's look at base set. Base set is a $50,000 booster box. Skyreach is a $100,000 booster box. Team Up, it's selling for $15,000 AUD. That's pretty crazy. Now let's look at the best set in all of Pokemon. Or at least the second best set. Or the third best set. Evolving Skies. It's only 3.5k. What? Huh? That makes no sense. How can Skyreach be a $100,000 booster box, base set be a $50,000 booster box, Team Up be a $15,000 booster box, but Evolving Skies is so cheap? Well, there's a simple answer. It's because it's so new. It's not because it's bad, it's not because it's stale, it's not because it's not going up well, it's not because it's slow to move, it's purely because it's so new. It's proven itself. It's proven it will go up. If you compare the chart of other booster boxes to Evolving Skies, you'll notice Evolving Skies is the only box in all of Pokemon, in all of pretty much trading card history, where it just slowly trickles up. Most booster boxes go in a 3 to 4 week phase where it just shoots up. Take Fusion Strike, for example. It started at $150. Then at one day, it just decided to shoot up to $300. Then a couple months later, it shot up from $300 to $600 within about a 1 month window. From $600 to $1,000, it did that in about a 3 week window. They just have these 3 week windows where they just go parabolic. Evolving Skies works on its own terms. Evolving Skies will usually trickle up by about $50 per week. Why? Why is this the case? Well, the reason is because Evolving Skies has the perfect balance of organic purchases. I'll explain how. There are three main people buying Evolving Skies. You've got number one, people investing in it. Then you've got number two, people buying it for the personal sealed display. And then you've got number three, people buying it intending to sell it. Now, number one, investors, they always fuel up the market, but it's a bit of a Ponzi, right? Because if you've only got investors, then eventually it will collapse. But the reason why Pokemon doesn't collapse is because you have enough of the other dudes coming up to come and clutch, people who open it, people who collect it. But Evolving Skies takes this and cranks it up to the max. So let's move on to the next people who are displaying it. Well, think about it. It is a colored booster box. Colored booster boxes actually have a really good history of doing well purely because it's colored. Let's take a look at a set like Darkness Ablaze. Darkness Ablaze is a terrible set, awful set, printed into the oblivion, unpopular top chase, and also cheap top chase. It's still a $400 booster box. Why? Why is it a $400 booster box? Well, the reason is, I believe, a big reason is because it's just so good to display. People love displaying it. You can see there's actually a market for displayed items. Now, ETBs kind of prove this better than any other box. If an ETB doesn't have a promo, so really any ETB before Scarlet and Violet, that's not a holiday set, those ETBs are extremely reliant on the artwork. In fact, it's 100% reliant on the artwork. It needs a good artwork. You compare a set with a bad artwork on the front versus an artwork like Rayquaza, like Gengar, and you can see a night and day difference. It's the same thing with booster boxes. Quick example, Fusion Strike. I believe Fusion Strike is the best looking booster box in all of Pokemon. I believe it's just such a visually appealing booster box. I think it's amazing. Let me ask you something. Let's just say in a different dimension, Fusion Strike, the box art has a Genesect in front of it, or a Celebi instead of the beloved Mew. But not only that, it's a white booster box. It's not pink anymore, it's white. Do you really think it would be a $1,100 booster box? Well, no. I believe there is about a 10 to 15% premium on booster boxes that are really, really nice to display. Not really a way to prove this. It's actually very difficult. There is no way for me to prove this whatsoever. But you look at a box like Lost Origin. Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, they're pretty similar. Fusion Strike is slightly better, but Fusion Strike is like $400 more. You can get Lost Origin for like $700 a booster box, or $750. You can get Fusion Strike for $1,100 or $1,150. Dude, they're so close in quality of set, but Fusion Strike is light years ahead, and because so many people buy it to display it. So then you've got the collectors. That's done. Let's move that out of the way. Let's look at stores. Let's look at streamers. These people froth over Evolving Skies. The reason why they do that is because Evolving Skies brings in so much traction. Do you want more foot traffic in your physical card shop? Well, make a social media post that you have Evolving Skies. It doesn't have to be a good price. It doesn't have to be market. It doesn't have to be 10% under market. No, you could literally charge 30% over market and you would still sell it so quickly. I know tons of card shops who sell Evolving Skies packs way over market and they're still selling it like no tomorrow. Now, this is where it gets funny. A YouTuber will make videos about Evolving Skies because they know it'll get more views. Take this video for example. Yes, okay, do I believe Evolving Skies is going to go up? Of course. But at the same time, I want my channel to do well, and I want to create the content that you guys want. Let's be real for a second. This video is probably going to get a couple thousand views purely because I mentioned large number and Evolving Skies in the title with a very over-the-top thumbnail. If I don't do that, it literally will get 1/5 of the views. And that's the power Evolving Skies has. I feel like literally every single person watching this video is guilty of it right now. Like, come on, if I made the video about Paradox Rift or Temporal Forces, you guys wouldn't really care. And this just goes for everything. This goes for streamers. Streamers will do box breaks of Evolving Skies, or they'll list it on their site. But this is the thing. It can be way over market. People don't care. They just want Evolving Skies. They can't get enough of it. So you get these three parties, all these different parties, all in it for completely separate reasons. They all come together and you get this perfect formula where the booster box trickles up slowly, consistently, almost like an index fund, almost like a very, very safe investment. You can see it's just trickling up. It's not going through these massive swings. It's not going up and down and up and down. No, you can see the strength just building up as it trickles upwards. Now, if you look in the chart, of course, you'll see a couple nudges where it goes up. Naturally going to happen. Be set compared to a set like Fusion Strike or Paldea Evolved, and you'll see just massive bumps where it'll just jump up. Evolving Skies is a little bit different. Alright, number 3. So Evolving Skies is one of the only sets to double up on popular Pokemon. What do I mean by that? Let's look at base set. You've only got one Charizard. Let's look at Skyridge. You've only got one Charizard. Most sets only contain one. Fusion Strike, you've only got one Gengar. Lost Origin, you've only got one Giratina. Evolving Skies, they double up. If it wasn't crazy enough for them to have a Moonbryon in Evolving Skies, they have 2. If it wasn't crazy enough for them to have Rayquaza in it, they have 2. If it wasn't crazy for them to have Glaceon, they have 2, so on and so forth. This is very crazy. This is a very big deal because basically, Evolving Skies, you've got a lot of popular Pokemon inside. A lot of popular Pokemon. But they take that and just crank it up to the max. This is crazy. I don't really need to explain it more, but they just don't do this very commonly. The only other set I can really think of at the top of my head is Team Up. That's really the only set I can think of. They have 2 artworks of the Magikarp and Wailord. They have 2 artworks of the Latios and Latios, and they have 2 artworks of the Mimikyu and Gengar. They don't do this commonly, and sets that have that feature generally perform amazing, like Team Up. Or number 4, pure speculation here. I'm just going to put a little warning, this is pure speculation, but I do not believe that they'll make an evolution-based set for a good while. Maybe a couple sets will have like 1 or 2 evolutions here and there. Probably not going to be that common anyways, but I doubt they'll do an evolution-based set for a good while. I'm saying 10 to 15 years. I'll tell you why. Look at Pokemon's best hits. They like to keep it premium. Look at Pokemon's brightest ideas. They like to keep it in a small little box of a couple sets and just keep it there. Let's talk about tag teams. You've got tag teams, an extremely popular and unique idea. Complete banger. Wasn't really a hit when it came out, but it's a complete banger nonetheless. There's only 4 sets of it. They haven't remade it since. We're still waiting for remakes. We're still waiting for more tag teams. I'm still waiting for that announcement where they go, oh yeah, guys, we're announcing tag teams. Imagine they made like Umbreon and Charizard. That would be insane. But the thing is, you can see that they have such a successful run-up of an idea, and they just say, all right, yeah, cool, you guys like that? All right, no more. You guys don't get any more of that. You can see that with Gold Stars. You can see that with Gold Stars, but another example I want to use is Team Rocket. Team Rocket came out, massive hit, yada yada, we all know the story. About 3 years later, they bring out Team Rocket Returns. Okay, cool. Then they just did not make a Team Rocket set for like 20 years until eventually they made Destined Rivals. That's pretty ridiculous. Now, looking at the history, if you actually notice, they made Evolving Skies, and then about 3 years later, they made Prismatic Evolutions. They've done the same thing that they did with Team Rocket. So if they do what they did with Team Rocket to Prismatic and Evolving Skies, maybe this is it. Like, arguably the most influential type of Pokemon, aka evolutions. I mean, what sells the most? What plushies sell the most? Pikachu, Charizard, and then evolutions. What cards are the most popular? It's always evolutions. Evolutions people lose their mind over. You'll have one evolution in a set and people will just go crazy for it. Obsidian Flames is a great example. Dude, did you know when Obsidian Flames came out, there was a reverse holo Umbreon? You know there was actually like a couple weeks of hype for that Umbreon. It died pretty quickly, but there was a reverse holo of an Umbreon and there was so much hype for it. The influence of this is ridiculous, and they crank it to the max. Prismatic is great. Love Prismatic. It's got nothing on Evolving Skies. But the thing about Prismatic is there's only one artwork of each evolution. Evolving Skies has 2. So the idea of this is Charizard. Everybody loves Charizard. The more Charizard cards they make, the less likely older Charizard cards are to go up. And the reason is because there's more options available, right? A great example is, let's just say Shiny Mew, right? Shiny Mew is a great example. There's very few Shiny Mew cards, and on top of that, there's very few good Shiny Mew cards. So for those good ones, they just do absolutely phenomenal. If they start making all these Shiny Mew cards, it's going to get tainted very quickly. Now, the same thing happens with cards like Evolutions. they'll only go up more and more and more the less evolutions they make. Very important that they keep it very premium, and they tend to do that a lot for a lot of ideas. Alrighty, number 5. The singles actually seem to be bouncing back a bit. Specifically the Moonbreon as a PSA 10. Seems like it's made about a 20% bounce back. It's doing pretty good, to be honest. Not doing like phenomenal, but here's the thing. Let's look at Team Up, for example. So Latios was about $5,000 as a PSA 10 for a good while. It was a couple of years. That at the same time, the Team Up booster box was $3,000. Now, in order for booster boxes to make sense, generally there needs to be some sort of incentive for you to open up the booster box. The best incentive is that if you pull a top chase and you get it as a PSA 10, then you make a profit on the booster box. So with Team Up, that $2,000 margin was your profit. Now, skip to Team Up about 3 months ago. Latios and Latios was selling for $10,000. Everyone was losing their mind. And then Team Up goes to $8,000 or $9,000. So you still got like that margin there, yeah? Now let's skip to the Latios and Latios being a $17,000 PSA 10 card. Well, the booster box has sold for $15,000, $13,000, $14,000. It's selling in this range. Once again, you have that little margin in case you get a PSA 10. You're not going to. You're very unlikely to, but let's just say you do. At least you have that margin. This is how boxes work. This is how they've always worked. Evolving Skies needs that Moonbreon to go up. It needs it. It needs that Moonbreon to send it. If it doesn't, it's going to struggle to go up. The good news is it probably will go up. The reason why it'll go up is because it's so flippin' popular. Now, for anybody who says, oh, well, the population is too much, so it can't go up. I don't know why I had to make like a high-pitched voice, but I just did. Well, consider Grey Hat Pikachus. There is like, what, 70,000 slabs in existence? There's like 40,000 PSA 10s, and then there's like 30,000 PSA 9s. Dude, it's still like a $1,500 slab. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. So it kind of goes to show you, if the card's popular enough, obviously there's going to be a high pop because there needs to be a demand for it. If there was a low pop on the Moonbreon, it would be a $20,000 card as a PSA 10. But thankfully it's a high pop because at least it's somewhat affordable compared to that. The high pop means nothing. It really doesn't. It's fairy dust. It's nothing. It doesn't generate any points. It's just all nonsense. The population is high, okay? Have you seen the population of unlimited cards? They're pretty freaking high. Have you checked the pop of Charizards? They're pretty high. It's still expensive as anything for a Charizard unlimited. The pop virtually means nothing, right? If the demand is there, it'll go up. Now, I just want to quickly say, the thing about the Moonbreon is it needs organic growth to go up, and I think people don't like this. Great example is the Mega Rayquaza. There was an auction where the Mega Rayquaza from Lost Origin? No, Lost Origin. Heck no. From Celestial Storm? No, it wasn't Celestial. It was one of them. It was some of the Origins. One of those. Basically, I think it was like, what is it called? There's an Origins from X and Y. I forgot what it's called. Anyways, point being, there was a Mega Rayquaza. Sales were $1,000 or $2,000. Now, the pop for this Mega Rayquaza is like $120, which is extremely low. It sold for like $10,000. This one auction, single-handedly, I think it was Roaring Skies. Yeah, it was actually Roaring Skies. I just remembered. That single-handedly pumped Roaring Skies to the moon. And you know what's even funnier? When that one auction did that insane, then I saw all these posts everywhere. Magically, everybody wants this card. Everybody now wants it in a PSA 10. Dude, there's 120 of them. One just sold. There's probably going to be barely any of them selling. You're barely going to get an opportunity to buy them. The point is, it's very easy to influence. Moonbreon is not. The higher pop it is, the harder it is to manipulate the market. And I think people don't like this because people want big, quick jumps. And I think people don't like the idea of it organically going up. People like the idea of it just shooting up, going crazy. I think that's why people like the Magikarp from Paldea Evolves very much. But hey, didn't I say that the Magikarp selling for $4,600 was market manipulation? In fact, I can recall the exact video. It was this video here. I said it's market manipulation. Lo and behold, it's crashed. It's crashed back down to like $3,000. That's market manipulation. You can't manipulate the Moonbryon market. There's too high of a pop. If one magically sells for $10,000, obviously market manipulation, then it'll just immediately get listed down to $9,000. But then 10 other people will undercut that person, and then 10 other people will undercut that person until it goes eventually back down to the market price. It cannot be manipulated. And my final point for this video is Prismatic Evolutions goes up, Evolving Skies will piggyback off of its growth. It's a very weird phenomenon, but generally what happens with Pokemon is when you've got something like, you can see, like, Destin Rouse is a great example. Destin Rouse comes out, and now all these old Team Rocket cards are blowing up. Same thing as Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions, that Umbreon breaks record numbers, that Sylveon breaks record numbers. Prismatic Evolution as a whole does amazing. It'll just piggyback right to Evolving Skies. And I would not be surprised if in 5 years' time people sell Prismatic to buy Evolving Skies. I would not be surprised if people do that. Evolving Skies is the original. Evolving Skies is the king. I love Prismatic Evolutions. I love that set as everybody else. I know I'm not special, but Evolving Skies is still king.